Saya rasa memang dan seniman adalah yang paling rentan dari semua yang lain yang tadi disebutkan. Mereka yang paling rentan terkena daripada dampak pandemi ini.
Kita berjumpa lagi di The Ultimate Talks episode Virtual Impact on the Art Industry, persembahan dari Forbes Indonesia dan Oppo Find X2 Series. Nah, kali ini kita akan berbincang soal industri seni. Bagaimana industri seni bisa bertahan di tengah pandemi ini? Apa silver lining yang bisa kita pelajari? Dan bagaimana membuat industri seni, entah itu museum, entah itu dari sisi kolektornya, entah itu dari sisi artisnya, bisa bertahan dan juga tetap relevan di masa pandemi COVID-19 ini. Sudah bersama saya ada Ibu Melanie Setiawan yang biasa akrab disapa Bu Mel, pecinta seni, orang menyebutnya Dokter Seni Indonesia, ada juga yang menyebutnya Mother of Indonesian Art Scene. Bu Mel, sehat Bu?
Sehat, terima kasih.
Terima kasih sudah mau hadir di Ultimate Talks kita, Bu.
Ya, itu suatu penghargaan juga buat saya.
And now we also have Aaron Sito, Director of Museum Macan. Aaron, how are you?
Well, thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Aaron.
Pleasure.
Saya akan ke Bu Mel terlebih dahulu. Bu, saya pengen menggali soal Ibu secara personal terlebih dahulu. Background Ibu adalah dokter spesialis. Dan tapi Ibu kemudian juga menjadi pecinta seni. Justru malah di media-media, sebagian besar informasinya adalah Ibu merupakan pecinta seni. Dokternya, pemberitaannya nggak segede Ibu sebagai pecinta seni, begitu. Bagaimana awal mula sebenarnya ketika Ibu cinta pada seni di Indonesia dan memutuskan, oke, ini adalah salah satu bidang yang saya akan passionate about?
Jadi kalau seni itu kan satu keindahan. Di situ juga menyenangkan. Jadi di dalamnya juga ada kedamaian, keindahan, kemudian juga ada persahabatan, dan tentunya juga ada unsur-unsur sosial di dalam situ. Bagi saya yang bekerja sebagai seorang dokter, bidang ilmu kedokteran itu adalah sesuatu yang murni eksakta, di mana kita dihadapi dengan suasana yang berat, stres, dan kita harus penuh disiplin. Jadi saya kira bidang seni ini memberikan satu keseimbangan, keluasan bagi saya dalam kehidupan sehari-hari.
Dari beli suatu karya seni untuk hiasan di rumah sampai menjadi seorang Bu Mel seperti hari ini, the Mother of Indonesian Art Scene. Perjalanannya gimana, Bu? Apa yang bikin kemudian sangat passionate, sangat into seni? Apa yang membawa Ibu sampai hari ini?
Saya kira jadi saya memasuki dunia seni rupa itu sebetulnya tanpa satu target tertentu. Jadi mungkin berbeda dari teman-teman pencinta seni maupun kolektor-kolektor yang lain gitu ya. Jadi kemudian saya merasakan di situ terutama pertemanan, persahabatan, friendship, relationship itu sangat penting bagi saya. Dan saya menemukan itu di dalam dunia seni rupa ini.
Ngomong-ngomong soal seni rupa, kita juga tidak bisa memisahkan dengan Museum Macan. Salah satu museum yang sekarang menjadi banyak perbincangan. A museum that has been talk of the town for some years. Aaron, can you tell us, as a brand and as a museum, what sets Museum Macan apart from the others?
Well, firstly, Museum Macan is relatively new. We opened in November 2017. So in terms of museum infrastructure, we're probably one of the most recent to come online. And I think in the short period of time that we have been open to the public, we've made a really big impact. And this has got to do with our commitment to art appreciation, art education, and also bringing a different type of program to Indonesia. Our focus is of course on contemporary art from Indonesia, but also international art, so art from around the world.
Some of my friends tell me that whether you love whether you love arts or not, Museum Macam is a must-go place to go when you have free time during weekends or other days. What is actually the vision? Why people are falling for Museum Macam, although they're not really into arts?
Well, firstly, thank your friends, because I think that's really heartening for us to hear that people want to come to the museum, and that's partly one of the challenges that we had as we were developing the vision for the museum. Is that museums are not just for people who are in the know or people who know about art, but museums are social places. They're cultural places. They're places where people come together to enjoy a day out or to learn about things that they might not necessarily know about. So it's really that's what we're aiming for. It's not for necessarily just for the art community, but it's actually for society at large. Because we know one of the bigger visions behind the museum was that Pak Haryanto and Vanessa, who is the chair of the foundation, that they understood that without good art education and good art appreciation, it's really difficult as a society to develop, to completely understand your full potential. You need to have an understanding and a knowledge about art.
Saya dengar 98% dari seluruh koleksi Ibu buatan seniman Indonesia, Bu.
Ya, benar.
Apa yang membuat Ibu kemudian, oke, saya pilih ini, saya beli ini, saya bantu seniman ini, apa yang mendrive Ibu untuk melakukannya?
Tapi itu semua kan mengalir begitu saja gitu. Jadi tidak ada yang tadi saya kan target tertentu, tidak ada tujuan tertentu. Ya berjalan saja dengan perjalanan waktu demikian lama, dari tahun 77 sampai sekarang udah 40 tahun. Tentunya jadi ya lumayan ada lah gitu loh.
Yeah.
Tapi saya pikir kalau misalnya mungkin Aaron disuruh mendesain membagi-bagi koleksi saya ini apa ya gitu, mungkin bingung kali.
Ibu, dari saya ngobrol Ibu beberapa menit, saya bisa menyimpulkan Ibu orang yang sangat rendah hati. Tadi kita sudah ngobrol sama Aaron sedikit Bu soal Museum Macam. Nah, saya dengar akan ada House of Melanie di Yogyakarta. Bisa sedikit cerita Bu, apa itu House of Melanie?
Sebenarnya begini, yang disebut mungkin mereka sebut rumah seni Melanie itu sebetulnya ya rumah bersama sebetulnya, di mana para seniman itu senang datang dan merasa nyaman untuk datang, kemudian kadang-kadang juga menginap gitu loh. Jadi itu dari mereka. Jadi saya pun tidak mempunyai satu program misalnya seperti Macam gitu, punya program luar biasa teratur dengan segala tujuan edukasi dan lain-lain. Jadi saya itu enggak. Dan kemudian memang kalau mereka sudah bilang, "Yuk Bu, kita bikin ini." Oke, saya setuju. Tentu dibikin satu persiapan dan lain-lain, tapi itu semuanya spontan aja gitu loh.
Go with the flow.
Yeah.
So Aaron, before the pandemic, how was Museum Macam doing?
Well, right before the pandemic, we had just opened a really two major exhibitions. One by the Indonesian artist Melati Suryadamo, which is part of a commitment that the museum has to present important Indonesian artists to the Indonesian public. You know, this is an artist who has made a big impact internationally, and this was actually her first major museum survey. And then at the same time, we had just opened an exhibition by the German artist Julian Roosevelt, and I think the exhibition of Julian's is probably it's a very beautiful show. I mean, our galleries haven't looked better. And then almost a week afterwards, we had to close the museum.
I mean, shutting the museum when you guys were having two exhibitions running, how did that make you feel, and how did the management tell all the related parties, especially employees, that hey, we need to close the museum because of this and that reasons?
it wasn't an easy decision to make, but it was also a decision that we had to make. I think it would be completely foolish of us if we didn't pay attention to the signs and to the gravity of the situation. And of course, the biggest our hearts really went out to the artists, because this is a lifetime of work that not every artist gets to do a survey exhibition in a museum, and not everyone gets to do that to their and present it back to their own country people. So I think there was a lot of disappointment, but I think the artists also understood that there was a bigger issue at play, and similarly for the staff, that as you probably also felt, that there was so much uncertainty about what was going around, what would happen around the corner, and so we were very conscious of the emotional impact that this was going to have on our teams.
We're very lucky, Bu Mel, untuk memiliki Museum Macan.
Yeah.
We're very lucky to have Museum Macan in our art scene, as it exhibits also Indonesian artists and how to help them, grow and sustain in the art scene of our country. Kalau misalnya saya ingin bertanya pada Ibu terkait dengan seni rupa di Indonesia, apa yang sebenarnya membedakan seni rupa Indonesia dengan negara-negara lain, Bu? Apa yang bikin kita unik?
Saya pikir kalau seni rupa kan sebetulnya secara umum ya sama, tapi masing-masing yang membuat perbedaan adalah budaya dari masing-masing tempat ya. Jangan kata luar negeri, di Indonesia saja dari tiap itu beda-beda. Misalnya ya kan beda-beda. Jogja sama sekarang yang dikatakan untuk kontemporer saja, misalnya terutama di Jogja dan Bandung misalnya, itu pun sudah terasa bedanya gitu loh. Jangan kata misalnya lagi Bali, itu udah lain sekali ya.
Artinya di Indonesia pun berbeda-beda, yang harus digali kekayaannya pun juga masih banyak. Banyak. Jadi memang beberapa tahun terakhir saya juga mencoba untuk menggali ke daerah-daerah. Jadi yang udah saya jalanin itu di Sumatera Barat, kemudian Sulawesi Tenggara, Makassar, dan Gorontalo. Dan ini karya seni dari seniman-seniman lokal, tidak peduli apakah lukisan ataukah patung, Ibu memberdayakan itu semua.
Dicoba, tapi memang datangnya dari seni rupa. Jadi misalnya yang sekarang sudah jalan, sudah tahun keempat sebenarnya tahun ini, itu di Sumatera Barat. Mungkin 1-2 minggu kita baru Zoom juga, karena sebetulnya rencananya tiap tahun itu bulan September.
Oh.
Ya, kita membuat
event
acara
yang di Sumatera Barat ini.
Ya, tiap tahun bulan September. Jadi sampai tahun ini juga rencana sudah siap-siap sih September ini. Jadi ya sekarang dibatalin juga nih.
Dedikasi yang luar biasa, Bu.
Ya, yang bisanya begitu. Mungkin kalau bisa punya kemampuan lebih ya bisa berbuat yang lebih luar biasa mungkin ya. Tapi ya saya pikir kalau tiap kita sebagai orang Indonesia masing-masing memberikan kontribusi, kan itu jadi besar gitu loh. Bisa dirasakan oleh seluruh masyarakat.
Dan Ibu percaya pada potensi seniman-seniman Indonesia?
Percaya dong. Percaya, tapi mereka kan apalagi yang di daerah kan nggak ada kesempatan. Gitu. Jadi kita kasih mencoba membuat sesuatu, memberikan mereka kesempatan untuk lebih bangkit gitu ya, memberi semangat.
Okay. So Aaron, how does this COVID-19 pandemic change things that Museum Macan does?
Well, the pandemic has changed lots of stuff, and I think that the most obvious one, which we should actually make people aware, is that actually we no longer are able to have a physical encounter with art right now. We can't have a physical encounter with other people, which often makes the art experience more pleasurable and more enjoyable. But it also has much more nuanced impacts, which often those people who are not who are maybe unfamiliar with the art scene don't actually always get to see. And this has an impact because the pandemic has had a major impact on artists. It's had a major impact on the ecosystem and the infrastructure for not just the market and the presentation of art, but also for the livelihoods of artists themselves.
But I believe there are, Aaron, I believe there are some ways that Museum Macan has done to minimize the impact of the pandemic. What are they?
Well, I wouldn't say that we've done this to minimize the impact of the pandemic. I think that we've implemented a number of programs to make people aware of the broader impact on the ecosystem. So the project that you're referring to, it's a project which we've called Arisan Karya. So it is a project which we initiated so that we could generate some positivity right now. So we invited, through an open call, 100 artists to make a work for this Arisan. And then using our digital platforms, we then went out to invite our audiences. There might be collectors, they might be general people who like the arts, to buy a voucher for 1 million rupiah. So there were 100 artworks and 100 vouchers. And we know that the amount of money that we raised was actually quite small for artists, but it really was about generating that positivity right then at that moment, to encourage people to think about, well, how that the pandemic may be impacting other people at that time. So we have two other sessions of the Arisan coming up in June and also in July.
Okay, so if we may know, what is the money for?
The money, okay, so the money, part of the money went back to the artists. So the money went to them to use however they needed to or wanted to use that money. We know that some artists have actually will have already pledged that this money will be donated back to the community again. So it's really about sometimes circles of giving, circles of goodness and encouragement. And then the museum also took a cut from it, and part of that cut went to support the art managers. So it's not just the artists who are suffering at the moment, but it's also those individuals who make projects happen. They don't have projects for the not just the short term, but probably also for the medium term. So we went out again through an open call and selected a number of what we've called regional coordinators who will help us to implement this program, because it's a national program. It's not just about Jakarta, but we've received support from artists from across in Indonesia. And then alongside that program with the regional coordinators, we're also doing an education program with them. So it's more of a skills development program where they've got to speak to our Zoom classes with our exhibitions design team through to our media and marketing team.
I think this is an interesting way. You use the term arisan or staffel. Yeah, and it's part of Indonesian social culture to hold arisan once in a month, right? So about people's enthusiasm, about Museum Macan goers, how has the enthusiasm been so far?
So that project, we had an amazing response. And I think generally for our online program since the pandemic, we've had a really, really great response. For Arisan Karya, the vouchers were sold out in about 10 minutes. That was how big the demand was. It was extraordinary that the response to the program. But generally the response to our programming, as I said, has been really quite heartening. So we've done things like our audio guides on Instagram, where one of our artworks by the Indonesian artist Aramayani has been listened to over 37,000 times. In the first month of moving lots of our programs online, our Museum from Home webpage had about 10,000 hits. So there is, as you say, a silver lining to this. To lots of these issues, and one of them is that we can actually deliver programs to a much more broad audience, people who from outside of Jakarta who might not easily come into the museum. And so I know my education team right now that they're working on a program which is normally held a physical program. It's a forum for teachers and educators, and they come together before every major exhibition, and they're working on delivering this forum digitally. And actually, we've been able to work with teachers from outside of Jakarta for the first time, and that's been really great.
So Aaron, I've learned that the museum has been closed for quite some time. So how are the employees, and how do you manage to, financially make the business afloat?
Well, that's a really great question. To be honest, I don't think that we are out of the woods yet. I think, and it's not just the museum. I think that if you probably speak to business holders or even small businesses, that they will that everyone is facing the same issues right now. But I think that one thing that we have been very careful about. I mean, you just have to watch your own kind of emotional roller coaster that this is everyone has been on. So I think that in one way, one thing about this is that for managers, we have to be much more in tune with. We must have to be much more empathetic with our teams. We have to communicate in different ways, and that's both a challenge for some people, and some people really enjoy it. So there are lots of challenges that are ahead of us.
I like when you say empathy and being empathetic, but I need to ask you this: did you need to put them at furlough?
There has been a little bit of restructuring that we have had to undergo in the museum. Yeah.
Oke, alright. Sekarang saya akan ke Bu Mel lagi, Bu Mel. Ini pandemi ini, Bu Mel, sejauh apa kemudian mempengaruhi dunia seni Indonesia?
Saya kira pandemi ini saja sudah memporak-porandakan sosial ekonomi dunia seni. Selain tentu juga di sektor-sektor lain ya, ini khususnya dunia seni. Jadi semua stakeholders yang penting, seperti misalnya seniman, baik seniman maupun institusi-institusi yang non-profit maupun yang for-profit, galeri, kemudian juga para art, seperti tadi dikatakan art manager dan media, semuanya terpengaruh, saya kira.
Kalau untuk seniman-seniman sendiri, di mana Ibu sangat concern pada mereka, apa kabar mereka, Bu?
Saya rasa memang dan seniman adalah yang paling rentan dari semua yang lain yang tadi disebutkan. Mereka yang paling rentan terkena daripada dampak pandemi ini. Ya, tapi memang saya pikir kita harus berpikiran positif, dan dari tiap musibah nanti tentu ada hikmahnya juga, saya kira. Dimana misalnya sekarang mereka mencoba eksis, berjuang untuk eksis dengan cara online, gitu. Kemudian juga sepertinya di pemerintah kita juga dengan adanya pandemi ini, mereka mulai melihat atau tergerak untuk mendukung bidang budaya dan seni rupa ya.
Virtual viewing. Biasanya orang kalau membeli benda seni ya dia harus melihat lebih dahulu. Betul. Ya kan? Nah, kalau virtual viewing zaman sekarang, physical distancing, pandemi, efektif nggak, Bu? Membantu tidak?
Dalam situasi di mana kita semua stay at home, ya lumayan ada membantu. Kita bisa lihat apa yang ada di luar negeri, dipamerkan di mana-mana kita lihat gitu ya. Tetapi saya rasa bahwa virtual viewing itu terasa seperti dingin.
rasanya beda.
Dingin ya, kita nggak merasa gitu loh, tidak ada rasa kehangatan di situ. Terus saya rasa sedangkan kalau art in person itu beda, kita bisa merasa ya tadi kita merasa lebih hangat, kita ada komunikasi, karya itu komunikatif ke kita gitu ya, dan kemudian juga kita merasakan ada kedalaman.
Aaron, how do you see virtual viewing? And I've learned also that Museum Macan has its own virtual viewing experience. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, I think that virtual viewing is never going to replace the pleasure of seeing something in the flesh. But I'm also quite pragmatic about it as well. That somebody who is looking at art in a virtual room and they decide to buy it, at some point is going to have that physical relationship with that artwork when they place it on the wall or they put it in their home. I think that virtual viewing is just one of the tools that collectors or curators are using right now to gather information with it. In terms of virtual viewing, we've implemented a number of things in the museum, and they've mostly been about providing information about what people are looking at. So it has an educational context to it. We've been doing audio guides for things in the collection. So you're literally only looking at a thumbnail of a picture, but having a narrative about why the curators in the museum think that this Sugiono or this Aramayani artwork is important. Of course, we've always done the videos and the artist interviews, and these things are now exist online and they become a resource.
Bu Mel, mungkin mau menambahkan, Bu?
Tadi yang saya katakan tadi itu sebetulnya virtual yang biasanya painting. Jadi memang kalau untuk misalnya video, performance, terus new media art, mungkin malahan dengan adanya sekarang semua serba virtual, serba online, malah lebih tersebar dengan luas gitu.
New normal, Bu. Kita sudah berbicara soal pandemi, sekarang bagaimana kita cope with that dengan new normal. Nanti di dunia seni ini, khususnya di Indonesia, new normalnya akan seperti apa, Bu Mel melihat?
Saya kira kita perlu waktu untuk kembali ke suasana yang akrab, terus hangat begitu. Kita akan perlu waktu di mana pada saat itu ada kita harus melakukan penyesuaian begitu. Nah itu cukup lama sih saya kira. Ini
apakah artinya seniman yang saya tahu mereka sangat bahasa Jawanya guyup, mereka sangat berkumpul, ngobrol, bertukar pikiran, sependerita serasa begitu kan Bu. Artinya budaya yang biasa dimiliki oleh para seniman ini untuk sementara waktu kita nggak tahu sampai kapan akan hilang Bu.
Saya kira perasaan itu sih tidak akan hilang sih. Cuman secara fisik bahwa kita melakukannya mungkin kan frekuensi nggak bisa. Tapi mereka tetap saling berkomunikasi dan terus saling memberikan semangat lah. Walaupun secara fisik kita memang nggak bisa ya, gitu loh.
Oke. Saya tertarik jadi gini, Ibu selama ini membantu banyak seniman Indonesia. Pasti Ibu juga entah itu dikirimi karya, entah itu Ibu pergi ke sentra-sentra seniman ini di Sumatera Barat, kemudian di Makassar dan sebagainya. Nah, kalau misalnya kondisinya saat ini seperti ini, cara Ibu untuk membantu mereka dalam artian misalnya membeli atau memberdayakan karya mereka, gimana Bu?
Cara kita membantu sih macam-macam sih ya. Ya, dengan keterbatasan ini kan kita masih bisa berkomunikasi, masih bisa ya saling memberikan support, saling memberi nasihat, mesti bagaimana bertukar pikiran.
So Aaron, when it comes to new normal, what kind of new normal would look like for Museum Macan?
Well, that's a really good question. Right now, the Macan team is really going through the processes of planning for reopening. and what that looks like with new protocols around social distancing, what our programs will look like into the future. So it is a time of lots of uncertainty, of course, but I think that we're always really optimistic, and I think that the new normal actually really signifies opportunities for adaptation, and thinking about how you might be able to be more efficient and more effective within different types of constraints. So experimentation is going to be a big part, I think, of what the new normal looks like, not just for the art community and for the museum, but I think generally for all types of businesses.
Okay, thank you. Bu, antusiasme milenial sekarang dalam mencintai, meresapi, bahkan mengkoleksi mungkin, membeli karya seni, seperti apa, Bu?
Saya lihat beberapa tahun terakhir ya, mungkin 5 tahun terakhir ini ya, itu bagus sekali. Jadi banyak sekali generasi muda, termasuk mereka-mereka yang berumur di bawah 30 tahun loh. Memang sangat aktif mencintai seni dan sering hadir di pameran-pameran di mana-mana. Dan saya lihat mereka tuh kebanyakan dari sebenarnya pendidikan luar. Jadi sepertinya kalau di sana kan sudah lebih dekat ya dengan seni, di mana juga banyak museum-museum, banyak galeri-galeri di mana mereka sudah terbiasa, katanya kalau berangkat ke kuliah gitu pasti liwatin museum ini, pulang liwatin lagi, jadi mampir aja gitu.
Jadi antusiasme milenial lebih bagus ya?
Bagus ya, ini 5 tahun terakhir ini sangat meningkat. Jadi saya kira itu penting sekali karena mereka kan generasi penerus. Ya, jadi memang nanti perlu ada generasi baru yang terus mengisi gitu.
Kalau tadi dari sisi penikmatnya, pecintanya, kalau dari sisi artis milenial, Bu, di Indonesia banyak nggak?
Banyak. Terutama di kota-kota yang dimana ada universitas-universitas seni rupa ya. Jadi terutama misalnya Jogja, Bandung.
Dan sekarang dengan adanya social media, ini seberapa
tambah
jauh membantu? Tambah rame?
Iya. Okay. Misalnya para street artist, graffiti artist, itu kan banyak dari sosial media.
Ibu ada pesan nggak, Bu, untuk para seniman di luar sana atau para pecinta seni yang kita tahu ini situasi sulit, agar mereka tetap optimistis, agar mereka tetap positif, apa saran Ibu?
Ya saya pikir semua lini seni rupa tuh harus tetap kreatif, kemudian saling berkomunikasi. Dan saya kira kalau dari seni rupa ya, khususnya seni rupa, memang peran dari para kolektor itu sebetulnya penting. Mungkin bukan peran seperti sebelumnya, secara konvensional adalah misalnya membeli karya seni, seperti tadi ditanyakan oleh Rory, kemudian memberikan donasi atau memberi sponsorship. Tapi mereka bisa misalnya, pertama untuk para seniman, para kolektor itu bisa memberikan satu semangat, misalnya minat terhadap karya-karya mereka, kemudian bisa juga memberikan keyakinan, kamu mesti jalan terus, misalnya mesti ini, mesti bagaimana gitu, dan memberikan validasi bahwa karya kamu tuh bagus gitu loh.
Artinya
ya kan?
Kolektor memegang peran penting di situasi
saya kira iya,
seperti
sebetulnya
ini.
iya. Ya.
Okay.
Walaupun tidak bisa dengan cara-cara dulu karena situasi, ya kan, tapi masih sangat penting.
Oke, terima kasih Bu Mel. So Aaron, how's the enthusiasm from the millennials in Indonesia towards arts nowadays?
Well, for the museum, millennials are one of our strongest audience groups. That and young professionals, that they really do make up a big part of our audiences. And I think generally for Indonesia, if you think about the population and the demographics, millennials are a massive part of it. I mean, it's not just for art and culture, but I think generally across society, millennials make a big difference. One of the things that we know about, what we notice about millennials is that actually they're very curious about not only what is going on here, but also what is going on around the world, simply because of social media and how that people are connected.
Do you have any input or suggestion to other art entities, whether it's museum or it's gallery, how to stay relevant to millennials?
I suppose the way that you stay relevant is by constantly being curious. And I think that, as a museum director, I can definitely look up to somebody like Ibu Mailani, because not only is she continues to be relevant simply because she is constantly curious about the world around her. When we go to events, that there's always a conversation. The young artists are always talking to her, always updating her on things that are going on. So I think that that's what we can learn from great collectors like Ibu Mailani, is to constantly be curious and to constantly look and to look from more than one direction as well.
Ibu.
Thank you Aaron, thank you.
Bu, dengan Ibu begitu passionate pada seni, sudah 40 tahun lebih, dengan begitu banyak seniman Indonesia yang terbantu. Saya baca banyak artikel, banyak mereka yang sosok Mailani adalah sosok yang tidak akan bisa dilupakan jasanya.
Terima kasih.
What is your ultimate achievement? Boleh di masa lalu, boleh juga di masa depan, Bu.
Di bidang seni sebetulnya masih ada yang saya rasa saya belum selesai. Itu mengenai buku saya. Namanya Dunia Seni Rupa Indonesia, The Indonesian Artwork. Itu sudah saya kerjakan sejak tahun 2005 sebetulnya. Begitu lama ya. Tetapi tahun 2012 kita pikir kita bakal selesai tahun 2013 gitu loh. Jadi kita melakukan semacam kayak pre-launching di Galeri Nasional, di mana juga ada 60 artis kira-kira yang ikut pameran. Tapi ternyata berhubung kita ada kesulitan sampai sekarang belum jadi. Sorry. Jadi bukunya itu adalah satu buku koleksi foto. Jadi selama ini saya sudah mengoleksi foto kira-kira hampir 100.000 foto di dunia seni rupa ya, bukan di
Ibu
bidang
dapat
lain.
penghargaan dari MURI juga saya dengar.
Ya.
Archive yang paling komplit.
Ya. Jadi saya pilih kira-kira 4.000 foto dari yang itu untuk masuk dalam buku. Gitu.
Dari buku ini nanti, apa harapan Ibu?
Sebetulnya itu kan kita tidak ada, atau saya tidak mempunyai satu rencana sebelumnya begitu. Jadi dengan perjalanan waktu, kira-kira tahun itu ya 2005, teman-teman pada bilang, Ibu sayang ya, itu foto-foto perlu diarsipkan, didokumentasikan, kemudian dijadikan buku gitu loh. Itu penting sekali untuk perkembangan sejarah dunia seni rupa Indonesia gitu. Jadi ya itulah tadi dikatakan juga, memang saya hampir selalu kalau saya ada di Indonesia atau di Jakarta gitu, saya selalu datang. Jadi selalu ada foto-foto gitu.
Nanti kita harus foto berarti, Bu.
Harus.
So Aaron, I know that your career spans quite long in Australia, in Sydney, and then in Brisbane, and now you're the director of Museum Macan. But I really want to know the ultimate goal or ultimate achievement of Museum Macan under your wing, what that would be.
Oh, that's such a hard question. I think the ultimate achievement really is about making a difference. And that's the reason why we opened the museum to begin with, is that we wanted to ensure that people from as many different backgrounds could engage with art. We wanted to make sure that we were presenting important projects back to the Indonesian public. We wanted to make sure that education was at the forefront. So the ultimate achievement really is to make sure that we're continuing to make that difference. And that difference could be everything from, that young person coming into the museum and their mind their viewpoint being completely changed by looking at something, through to the infrastructure which we've built. And I think that, yeah, I mean, it's a difficult question to answer, but it really goes back to the mission, which is which is really about society, and it's about education, and it's about culture.
Aaron Setso, Director of Museum Macan, Ibu Melanie Setiawan, pecinta seni, dokter seni Indonesia, dan orang bilang the mother of Indonesian art scene. Thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak sudah hadir di The Ultimate Talks hari ini. Itu tadi teman-teman, The Ultimate Talks episode Virtual Impact on the Art Industry. Terima kasih atas kebersamaan Anda. Kita bertemu lagi di episode selanjutnya. Sampai jumpa.